Cool. Let's get started. Again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome, everybody, to another Welcome to the Picosystem AMA. My name is James. I'm the community manager here at EOT Labs and Peak Network. And we're excited today to talk to another amazing project that is building in the Picosystem. We're really excited to talk about Chirp. I think this is a project that is doing something that we haven't really seen before. So I'm excited to learn a lot more about the project, a lot more about Chirp, a lot more about their perspective on DPIN in general. And of course, we're going to dive into that over the next half an hour to 45 minutes. But before we get started, as always, I have to do a little housekeeping, a little community management per se, and that is to remind everybody that, as we gain popularity, there are people who are going to try to take advantage of that. So we have to be vigilant and we have to be careful and we have to be safe. So always verify the links to make sure that you are in the correct channels. There are some fake channels out there on Telegram and Discord, and there are some fake Twitter accounts that are trying to take advantage of our amazing and wonderful community, and we don't want to see that happen. So please always verify. You can verify everything on our website, and same with Chirp. Once we get into the socials and we get you, following all of their socials, please verify and make sure that you are in the right channels. And with that, let's dive right in. So today, as I mentioned, we're talking to Chirp. So this is a Welcome to the Picosystem AMA. For those of you that might be new, we do this every week, sometimes twice a week, where we introduce new projects that are joining the Picosystem and reintroduce projects that are already building. And we host these spaces regularly because I think it's really important as a community, as the layer one, that we learn about all of the amazing projects like Chirp that are building on Peak. We are so fortunate to have so many high quality projects that are building in the ecosystem already, and we haven't even launched yet. So this is what I like to do to make sure that you guys know as much as you can about these amazing projects, and so we can support these projects, because at the end of the day, it's projects like Chirp that are going to drive the success of DPIN, and we're seeing that already. And so if this is your first time, welcome. If you are, a regular, welcome back, and thank you for taking the time to listen to us today. So a little bit about Chirp. Chirp is transforming global connectivity with its decentralized wireless infrastructure designed specifically for IoT and mobile. At the core of Chirp's approach is a community-driven model where individuals, known as keepers, own critical network components, expanding wireless signal across the globe. Chirp is an ecosystem that is brand and radio agnostic and aims to connect the largest amount of devices. And as always, you know that I'm going to be ordering a device right after this AMA, and I'm excited to learn more about that. And today we have Tim with us, one of the founders of Chirp. Welcome.
Hey guys, yeah, thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time. I know you're really busy, and so I do appreciate that. And so, to start off, I was just wondering if you could give us a brief introduction of yourself, sort of, how you decided to start Chirp, how that came to be. And then, we do have a lot of people in the audience who might not know, about Chirp. So, a rundown of the project for somebody who might not know and might want to learn more.
Sure. So a little bit about me first. Tim Kravchinovsky, founder of Chirp. I'm in network engineer. I graduated with computer science and network engineering a while back. Worked as a network engineer, climbing my way up, and then managed a lot of IT projects in my life. I am from network engineering field, so actually a lot of the guys, all of the guys are very experienced in the field, so we know what we're building. So we have a lot of people from telecoms. We have PhDs in computer science and telecommunications on the team. So we're by no means we're not new to this. So Chirp started about the project started about 2.5 years ago. but what drove the start of the project was actually my personal experience with IoT. I have a house that is not occupied, and we have a family friend who goes there every once in a while and just checks on the property. And during a winter, electricity was shut down, and all of the pipes froze, and essentially the entire heating system was broken. So it's up north, so it has like radiators for heating. All of the radiators were bursted, all of the pipes underneath the floor. So I had to fly out there and I had to repair the entire house. I had to rip out the floors and everything. So obviously, it was a very expensive repair, but most importantly, I tried to prevent this from happening in the future. And this is where I started looking into different IoT devices that could help me with that. And I realized that it's not user friendly at all. So me having a technical experience, it was quite a journey to install those sensors. What you typically see in the space right now is each manufacturer, they make a device and they have a proprietary app. So I had to get several devices to prevent this from happening in the future, and I was using multiple apps and multiple hubs for those devices to communicate. So, and that's essentially how Chirp began. So we started Chirp, and I guess it's time to introduce Chirp a little bit. So Chirp is a network and an ecosystem that is radio and brand agnostic. So exactly what does that mean? IoT devices, they operate on different technologies. Some of you guys have heard Bluetooth, some of you have heard of LoRa, so on and so forth. But there's no universal protocol. So all of the protocols are being used for different use cases, and that's why this space is so difficult. So what we're doing at Chirp is we're building a network that is run by the people that buy the antennas, install those antennas on their houses, and for providing coverage, they get rewarded with Chirp token. And we aim to connect all of the devices to our network, brand and radio agnostic. So we have been focusing on the IoT side of the story, but starting maybe next year, we're going to also roll out voice capabilities where you will be able to connect your cell phones to our network and make phone calls. So in short, about me, about how the project started, and about the network itself.
Yeah, that's great. A long time ago, I was reading an article about how the best ideas come from frustration points. And somebody, the author of this article was talking, it was like how to get into business, how to start your own business. And they said, if you ever wake up in the day and find yourself frustrated with something, there's an opportunity to take your frustration and knowledge and solve that problem and create an opportunity. And I think that that story really resonates with me. I have a house. I live in a house. I'd like to make it a smart house, but I come up with the same barrier to entry that you were describing. Looking at all of these devices, and then on top of that, personally, I don't like the fact that I'm giving my data to a large corporation. So yeah, I think Chirp really resonates with me, and I hope with a lot of other people about sort of just the base mission of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, there's still a lot of people that say, like, well, IoT has not taken off. And they probably are judging by the residential market, and they're judging by how many IoT devices actually are installed around their home. And in most cases, it's not a lot. And the reason for that, it's because it's very difficult to implement right now. So it's difficult for private clients, for their houses, but it's just as difficult for corporations. But corporations can hire an IT department that will manage that. So it's somewhat doable. It's still very expensive. But IoT is like literally all around us already. It's a $200 billion market last year. So it's incredibly big, and by no means IoT is not your smart microwave or your smart dishwasher. You know, it's there's a lot of devices and a lot of use cases where it's being used right now. But it's kind of like one of those under the hood fields that you don't know that quite exists. But this is what we're trying to break. We're trying to make IoT easy for everybody to use. And that's why we're actually partnering with Chirp with Peak to make this integration easier for all of the projects that are building on top of Peak.
Yeah, you mentioned a really good point that we do touch upon every once in a while in these AMAs, and that is, we all have kind of an individual perspective, and we all look at it from a retail perspective. With this case, I'm looking at smart locks and smart thermostats, and the same things that you were discussing. But the reality is, the majority of this market, the majority of the deepen market, is focused on industry and commerce, and that's where we're going to see the large adoption. I like to use the example of another DPIN that's working with us, D Telecom, who has a video conferencing DPIN. And, when you think about individuals and how, we use video teleconferencing, we use it at a completely different scale than corporations and people that have thousands of employees who want their own system. So it's really good to, have that perspective and to understand that, there's definitely a market in the residential area, and that's where we kind of focus. But looking at the industrial side of things, that's where we're going to get the millions of machines and the billions of transactions. So
Yes.
yeah, really good point.
So that listeners understand how big this IoT space is. Right now, even if you take only the automotive sector, every single truck on the road has at least several IoT devices right now. So, they have those trackers that read the parameters from the engine, the speed, the driving behavior. So in trailers, they have temperature sensors, humidity sensors, movement sensors, so on and so forth. So, and this is just the automotive sector. So it's really huge. I mean, just think about how many trucks are on the road, and there's several sensors in each truck. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And every industry is the same. I mean, I see
Exactly.
FarmScent, shout out to FarmScent in the chat here, and they're looking at, agricultural devices, humidity sensors, soil monitoring systems, air sensors. So, every industry has this huge number of devices that we typically don't even think about. So yeah, the opportunity is immense, and really exciting. And I think that's one of the reasons that personally I'm excited about Deepin in general, and I'm excited about Peak and these relationships that we're building with projects like Chirp, because we're able to look at this now and take advantage of it. And we often talk about mass adoption to take sort of a larger step back view of this whole thing. And we used to think about bringing Web 2 people into Web 3 and getting individuals in. But, the real pathway to mass adoption, personally, I believe, is what we're talking about is, introducing these DPINs into into the automotive industry and bringing Web3 to Web2 industry and commerce, which then filters down to Web2 individuals. And that's where we really see, an opportunity and an amazing amount of, potential in this sector. Cool. So one of the questions I had, I've spent, of course, a fair bit of time on the website and sort of looking, and I'm really interested in, and sort of to do a 180 on what we were just talking about. You already have devices. You have almost 1,000 devices deployed, the Blackbird antennas. And I was just wondering if you could sort of talk a little bit about that device and sort of where you are in the development of that, and how um, and to jump ahead a lot, and we'll get back to this, but how, individuals can participate and take advantage of that tech right now.
Sure. So just for clarity, in IoT, devices are end devices. That's what's using the network. So the antennas and what people are running to form the network, those are gateways. It's essentially a gateway is an antenna that you can install on your house. We had a limited sale of our antennas, but they're already deployed in 33 countries. So we have signal in 33 countries. Largest signal is in Europe. But if you guys want to see the coverage map, you can go to chirptoken.io. And there on the top header, you can click on Explore, and you will see a coverage map with all of the antennas already deployed. So that was a test batch that we sold. We're nearing our TGE. TGE is going to be hopefully very, very soon. Depending on market, like where we are in the next couple of months. And once we launch the project, we're going to start selling more of those antennas. We will have a very, very small batch of antennas for sale in the next couple of weeks, most likely. It is not announced, so your audience is the first to know about this. But it's going to be very, very limited amount. Literally, if you blink, you will miss it. So, if you're not lucky enough to get on that batch, you can sign up for the wait list on our website. And once we launch the project, so hopefully in the summer, you will be able to buy the miners. So once again, miners are gateways or antennas that provide the signal to our network. They need to be installed outdoors. And by installing that antenna, you are providing signal and you're getting rewarded with Chirp token. So that's how it functions.
That's some amazing alpha. Now everybody in the audience, I want one of these, so don't go tell everybody. Like, let's stick together here. No, that's great. Yeah, I look forward to that because I think like I said, I think this has a lot of potential, and I'm really a big fan of the project. So looking forward to that. I guess, to get back on script, I tend to go off script because I have, I'm passionate about this stuff, and it's really exciting to me. But, when we talk about, creating this network and allowing IoT devices to connect, that is obviously going to have an impact on both, everyday individuals, as well as having, a fairly large transformative impact on the industry as a whole. So I was wondering if you could just talk a little while about, what you foresee is that impact on the everyday person, and then maybe moving into sort of the bigger picture transformative impact on the industry as a whole that you're hoping Chirp is going to have.
Yeah, sure. So like I said, for the average person, I mean, like if we're not talking about the corporations, although corporations are facing exactly the same problem, it's ease of use of IoT. Right now, where we stand in this industry, if you do not have any technical knowledge, or if you just don't even have time, even if you have technical knowledge, but you don't have time to implement IoT, you will probably give up on this idea. And every once in a while, you will see guys, like on YouTube that have everything automated from their blinds to God knows what. Everything is automated inside their house. But that's their passion. They have technical knowledge. They know how to implement all of this. They know the technologies behind the IoT devices. But it just shows you that there's really a lot that you can even do inside your home. And forget about microwave, so on and so forth. So what we're doing at Chirp is simplifying it for all of the people. So essentially, we have a visualization platform and a network where you can buy any device on the internet and you can connect it to the Chirp ecosystem. I will call it that because it's not only the Blackbirds that provide the signal. We're giving people the ability even to use their Wi-Fi to connect some of the devices. So to the Chirp ecosystem, you will be able to connect any device that you can that you buy, and you will pretty much have everything under one roof. But most importantly, you will be able to do interesting logic and incorporate those devices amongst each other. So, for example, you can have a video camera that is from one manufacturer, and based on the information that comes from that video camera, so for example, movement, you can trigger a siren from another manufacturer that is installed at your house. You can do it for all of the devices. So when you have all of the devices under one roof, you have that ability to trigger the actions based on the actions of other devices. So and another excellent example, like if you have a leak sensor inside your house and a leak occurs, you can trigger the water valve to shut off the water automatically. And they don't have to be from the same manufacturer. In fact, they don't even need to be using the same technology. So they could be connecting by different radio frequencies. So I know it's very technical, but it's essentially we're making it easy for everybody to connect any type of device on the internet and reduce those apps that you're using. So like in the US, there's video cameras with Ring, and you have an app for that. If you have a door sensor, you have a door sensor. There's an app for that. If you have a tag on your dog, there's an app for that. And it gets really ridiculous. So this is what we're fixing the Chirp.
Yeah, I think I mean, when you put it into that perspective, I think that's a really good way to connect sort of what you're doing with the average individual, because, as I hear my dog barking in the background, I think about the fact that I would love to have a camera that could trigger a siren to, when my dog is chasing my cat around the house for fun and I'm not home, have that, stop. So I don't have to yell through a microphone. And I'm sure there's a lot of scenarios. The leak sensor, I think, is a really important one, and having, I think there's a layer of IoT devices that exists that we don't really, like you said, take advantage of because there is that technological barrier. And it really hit home when you were talking about the guys on YouTube that have their house automated, because that's what we all want. That's what I want, definitely. But I understand that, it's not feasible given my lifestyle and technical ability right now and time to make that happen. So
What's really cool about this is that IoT in this industry is really linking Web 2 and Web 3 together. So the entire network is run by the crypto folks that are interested in crypto, that are interested in earning tokens, and that is completely decentralized. But the people that are implementing the sensors on the network, they don't even have to have a slightest idea what crypto is. And they're using the network and they don't even know that they're using crypto. And this is kind of like, it erases that entry barrier to Web3. So it's like literally a perfect example, like when you're surfing the internet and you're using a website, you're on the front end of the website. You're not thinking about the database that you're using behind that front end or behind that beautiful website that you are using. And it's essentially what we're doing at Chirp as well. So like when you're using the network, you don't necessarily know how it operates, that it has a token behind it, so on and so forth. So this is really cool, I think.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to kind of the other part of the question I asked, which is the transformative impact. And, we can talk all day about how, we do need to make Web3 interfaces more Web2 friendly. And by taking that interface out of the equation and having the crypto native individuals take care of the network, and then, the non-crypto native individuals take advantage of the network, like you said, and not even know, I think that really, it on ramps people and onboards people so easily, that it's easy to see that adoption happening.
Exactly. Yeah.
So one of the questions that I'm seeing a lot in the comments, is, there are other projects that have looked into this, and one of them, of course, everybody knows is Helium. So, and Helium was one of the first DY projects. So I was wondering if you could talk about how you are different from Helium.
Sure. So DY is decentralized wireless, and it is completely true that Helium was the front runner in this category. But essentially, what Helium is doing is they have built something that is contributing to this fraction space, fraction IoT space. And that's because Helium just covers LoRaWAN. So LoRaWAN is a protocol that some of the IoT devices use. And as a matter of fact, LoRaWAN has about 500 IoT devices right now, give or take. But what about the other technologies? I mean, like, why would you bet on any particular technology? All of them are being all of them are being used. I mean, like, why would you limit yourself? So, and that's exactly what Helium is doing. Like, they built a network for LoRaWAN devices. LoRaWAN is a great protocol, but it's very, very limited in its capabilities, and it's used for particular use cases. So, for example, it cannot transfer pictures, it cannot transfer voice. It cannot transfer a lot of data. It sends small packets over large distances, but there's a Bluetooth protocol that can transfer voice and larger packets at great speeds. So at Chirp, we decided to take a different approach, and we decided to unite the IoT space instead of building yet another platform that is contributing to this fraction space that people cannot use. So this is the biggest difference. Helium is just LoRaWAN, and we can connect any type of device to the network and to the ecosystem. Besides that, we will have an ability. This is something really cool. What we're working on. We will be able to write data from IoT devices on chain. And this is really cool. It opens up a lot of new possibilities in different sectors. So, for example, in logistics and cold storage management, a great example, like if you're a pharmacy and you order vaccines from a manufacturer, those vaccines, they need to be transported and certain temperature requirements need to be met. If they're not met, you will receive the package. It's going to be intact, but essentially you will be a placebo because the temperature requirements were not met. So how do you know whether it was transported correctly or not? You can put sensors inside, and sensors will write data on chain. So we know that the information that is stored on chain is immutable. So by the time you receive the package, the smart contract could analyze the data from those devices that are installed in those boxes, and it could automatically trigger a payment to the subcontractor that delivered those vaccines. So, and there's thousands and thousands of use cases that are opened up by this. So it's law enforcement, insurance, so on and so forth. So I would say between us and helium, there's more differences than similarities.
Yeah, and I think, as we dive deeper into DeepIn, as the sector moves on, like, that example that you provided, again, not only brings that real world impact to the forefront and allows people to sort of understand it from a different perspective, but also, it just illustrates the power that we have with blockchain. And I'm so personally excited that, in this today, that we've moved, from where blockchain was as a public perception 3 years ago and 5 years ago, and now we're looking at these real use cases, these real impactful use cases, and having a network available that will connect all of these devices, and have that ability to take that data, write it on the blockchain, and then you can share that data between projects and contracts and interact with that data in different ways, just like you were saying. And now you have the ability to completely automate that transportation monitoring and payment pathway, that right now, the data that we receive, how do we know it's accurate? How do we know it's valid? Data security and data validation is something that I know that Peak is, very passionate about, and with our new Peak Verify, really making sure that we can verify that the data that is coming in is accurate. Um, which
Yeah.
kind of leads me to my next question, which is, you know, there a lot of the DPINs that we see building in Peak are excited and ready to take advantage from the benefit of the shared data across the network. Um, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about, you know, any opportunity for collaboration in that sense, or if you want to talk a little bit about, the integration into Peak.
So yes, there's actually Peak ecosystem is very interesting to Chirp because we do have a lot of synergies. Essentially, Peak is focusing on other deep ends, and other deep ends pretty much every single project can collaborate with Chirp for connectivity. And we're already in talks with a lot of projects, and we're going to be partnering with a lot of the projects. But it's essentially what we're doing with Peak is we're providing the connectivity layer for all of the deep end projects and all RWA assets. So, for example, there's if I'm not saying that there's a particular project that is going to be launched on Peak, but for example, like ride sharing or scooters. All of us have seen like Lime scooters all over the world. So they have millions and millions of scooters scattered throughout the world. Every single scooter is connected to IoT, and so this is what we're going to be providing to all of the deepen projects that are going to be building on top of Peak. So they're going to be integrating with Peak, and we're going to be making connectivity layer seamless for them. So it's one less thing that they need to worry about. If they need to retrieve data from the blockchain from their devices, that integration is going to be there. But essentially, if it's going to be a global ride-sharing project like Lime scooters, and you're thinking about global deployment, right now you literally have to have multiple agreements with multiple telecom companies. And here, Chirp is going to take care of connectivity, so you'll have one global partner, one platform, and it's going to be one really easy to use integration. So literally almost every single project on Peak is on Chirp's radar, and Chirp should be on their radar as well. So we're going to simplify things for a lot of projects.
Yeah, that's great. And I am sure I'm sure you have thought about this, but when you were given that example about Lime scooters, it's funny, in the area that I live, we don't have Lime scooters yet. I use them everywhere I go when I travel. So it is an example that resonates. But, then I start thinking, and if there's an area that doesn't have a Chirp network connectivity, then Lime as an organization can become involved and own the gateways. And now we have, it gives the opportunity for industries like that to take advantage on both sides of the equation. Um,
What's really nice about Chirp, we have multiple roaming agreements, both way roaming agreements. So meaning that we can use other networks, and our network can also be used by other companies. It's a common practice in telecom. So for some technologies, like if we don't have an antenna there yet, it does not mean that we do not provide signal there already. So um, we can connect a lot of devices globally already. So in most areas.
cool. That's amazing. Um, and really exciting. Like, the other thing that I think is, I mean, I use the words amazing and exciting and great all the time because frankly it is, but you know, how early we are in DeepIn, how while IoT is starting to mature, relatively speaking, IoT is still a very new technology. And, DeepIn is a very new sector and a very new way of looking at and collecting the data and handling the data. And to see the progress that projects like Chirp has made is truly exciting, because it's as cliche as it is. We are at the beginning of this, and I can only see this going, you know, this growing so much and expanding, and the possibilities and opportunities that lie ahead of us. So
We're in the very beginning from the Web3 perspective, from the deep end perspective. This area is only taking off, but also for Chirp success, we're in the very beginning of entire IoT adoption in general. Just think about autonomous cars, autonomous vehicles. I mean, like, how many of them do you see on the road right now? Not too many, but do you think that there will be a lot more in the next couple of years? Most definitely. So, are we going to be completely autonomous at one time? And just imagine, like how many sensors that's going to take. Well, what about smart cities? Like all of the cities, they're aiming to make their city smart right now and be modern, and that's just taking off right now. So there's bright future ahead of us with regular Web 2 use cases, but also deep in use cases. So
yeah, and transportation companies. I know there's a lot of transportation companies looking at autonomous trucking. You have drone companies, drone delivery companies, that are now getting into the tens of thousands of drones. So we could go on and on and on with examples about how Chirp is
exactly.
going to be able to help those levels of connectivity. So what do you think? What's your opinion on DeepIn, and what do you think is kind of next? Where do you think we're heading in this sector?
So what I think we're going to see next is fractionalization of real world assets, and that's going to be a huge market, because right now in real world assets, there's a lot of things that projects want to deploy that are just way too expensive. And by fractionalizing ownership, you're giving people an opportunity to participate in that project with a very low entry. So into the project, so that they could participate with $100, with $1,000, whatever they feel comfortable with. And I think that's really going to boost the entire deep end sector, and where we're going to see it in the next couple of years is like really mind-boggling. So
Yeah, the economic impact that DeepIn has the ability to provide to everybody is mind blowing. And we're seeing with a lot of the DeepIns that are active now, we're seeing the benefit, of a DeepIn being given to the individuals that are participating. And we've, in this series, we've talked about this a lot about how incentivization is one way to get individuals to adopt the technology and to become providers, and in your case, to become keepers with their gateways. And then, with these projects that are going on, having this economic impact on families, on individuals, it is really, you know, it's really nice to see that at the very beginning, like we are still on, minute one of Deepin, and we're hearing stories from individuals and we're seeing the success, and having that level of success this early. While, like, don't get me wrong, we all know there's a significant amount of work that has to come, and we're all going to be putting in long hours, and we have to do a lot of development. But seeing the level of success that we are with active Deepins now, you're right. It is, astounding at how far we have to go and what the potential is, you know, in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years from now.
Exactly. Yeah.
So now that we've hyped everybody up, because I know I'm hyped up, um, what are the ways that people can get involved with Chirp right now?
So Chirp is working on multiple NFTs and NFT projects that we're going to be launching very soon. The best way is to go to our website, chirptoken.io, where you could sign up for the wait list for the miner, but also when you sign up for that wait list, you will be notified of all of the events, anything that is happening on Chirp's ecosystem. So you can also sign up and follow our Twitter at ChirpDY. I'm actually speaking under this handle right now. We're gonna have a whole bunch of NFTs that will give people opportunities, airdrops, perks, early adopter perks on the network, where you will have to do certain actions to earn rewards, maybe access to early miners, so on and so forth. And something exclusive for your community. This has not been announced yet. Right after this AMA, we're actually going to be announcing a contest to win a free miner. So if you guys want to be part of this opportunity, so miners, they're about $1,000. They're not cheap. So if you want to win a free miner, we're going to publish all of the instructions on that contest right after this AMA on our ChirpDY Twitter. And you can always sign up for the wait list and buy a miner after we launch the project. So hopefully that's going to happen very soon, in the next couple of months. So we're very close to launching.
Cool. That's exciting. I was just looking at the map. I'm in Canada. I only see one miner in Canada, so I'm hopefully going to get an opportunity to get in early here. And I see a couple of people in the audience that I know. I'm going to shout out Dark Virus because he has so many Deepin devices in his vehicle, so I know he's excited about this as well. That's great. There's some alpha for everybody. Good reason. Not only is this a great conversation and a really good, understanding of what Chirp is, you also get alpha when you come to these AMAs. So lots of good stuff going on today. It's great. Well, we are out of time. This has gone by so fast. This has been great. Thank you very much, Tim, for taking the time. I see that there are a lot of questions in the Twitter thread that we didn't get a chance to get to. Some of them we addressed, some of them we didn't. So what I'm going to tell you, everybody in the audience, is if you want those questions answered, please follow Chirp on their socials, join their social platforms, and feel free to ask in those because I know that they're really helpful and they will help answer all of those questions for you. But before we go, Tim, again, thank you very much for taking the time. It's been great.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, so if I'm just looking. I lost my sheet here. Hold on. Here we go. So if you are in the audience and you don't follow Chirp already, please follow them on Twitter at ChirpDewi. That's ChirpDewi. You can also go to their website. It is chirptoken.io, where you can find the rest of their socials and join their Telegram. And yeah, and overall, I think this is a really exciting opportunity for all of us to get in and to support this project. And I think, Tim, what you guys are doing at Chirp is amazing. And it has such a real world impact. It has such a potential to really not only, drive deep in and drive, this Web 2 narrative or Web 3 narrative into Web 2. But, with the stories you've told today, I think it really, has the ability to connect with everyday individuals. And so it's great. And I really look forward to seeing, what you guys are going to be doing in the future. I personally will be signing up to that wait list and looking forward to getting my own miner. Um, and yeah, I hope everybody is excited as me.
I
So
hope so too. Thank you so much.
you, you are very welcome. And thank you, everybody, for taking the time again on a Friday morning, afternoon, or evening to spend an hour with us learning more about Chirp. We will be doing this again next week. And as always, we didn't do a Discord community call this week because I was really busy. But next week, we are going to schedule 2 Discord community calls. So if you have any questions about Chirp or any other DePIN or anything going on in the Pico system, please feel free to drop into those Discord AMAs. You get me on the mic for an hour to an hour and a half, and I will answer any questions you have. And again, please, if you are not already, follow Chirp on their socials and, let's support another amazing project. Thank you for taking the time once again, and we will talk to you very soon. Have a good week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Bye bye.